Hi folks, it's Andy and welcome to today's Kendo rant. Let's get right into the questions. Before we do, don't forget to join the Kendo Show Early Access group. There's a thing on the screen here somewhere and a link in the description. And go and join that. It's free to join. It's a great place to post your questions. And don't forget as well to shop at KendoStar. Right, first question. I have a question on wearing the door. I've always worn it so that my door overlaps with the top of my tare and covers a good portion of my chest, much like a lot of people. But I've seen that some kenshi, such as the late Chiba Sensei, seem to wear it a good deal lower than this. Why would this be? As it seems it will provide less protection if worn this way. Thanks in advance. Okay, great question. Now, in terms of the way that you should wear the door, all right, it's different for everybody depending on their own body size and shape and style, okay? Excuse me. It's basically, it depends on your height, it depends on your build. I brought my tare and my door here, all right? So, look, ideally, right, the bottom of the door wants to sit pretty much on this, what's called the chidori, all right, just above it really. So these little crisscross patterns here at this sort of point of the tare where it connects the myobi, that's this part, to the panels, all right? So it would kind of sit, if I can get it, something like that, all right? You don't want it sitting too low, right, like that. Okay, so it's covering your Zekken, if you can help it. And you don't want it sitting too high like that so you can sort of see a load of the myobi either, all right? It's best not for that to be like that. But again, it depends on your height, right? When I, especially sort of shorter people, it would be worn, you know, sometimes it does overlap, especially on ladies. But look, when I wear this, like I wear it about here, and yeah, there's a good portion of my chest that's exposed. My ago on my men probably comes to just about here. Ideally, I don't want the ago and the top of the mune to overlap, all right? If you're very short, again, or if you're a lady or a junior, sometimes that's unavoidable. It's not the end of the world, all right? It's not supposed to overlap, but if it, you know, it's not the end of the world if it does, because if you're stood in your kamae with a good posture, it won't interfere with it anyway, and you don't need to make this sort of up and down movement with your head generally anyway. But I did go and have a look at a couple of videos of Chiba Sensei, as you mentioned, and indeed, his door sits somewhere like around here on his body. It's very low, and a lot of this area is indeed exposed. And looking at it, it looks like to me he had quite a long torso, which is probably why it sort of sat at that level. However, look, the mune here, it is there to protect your chest, but it's kind of really a backup plan, if you know what I mean. It's kind of it's not there to provide an all-encompassing shield against missed ski strikes. Yeah, even myself. Yeah, I don't have a very tall. I'm not very tall, and I've got a reasonably short torso. So. I don't know why I pronounce it like that. A reasonably short torso. And basically, because of that, there isn't a massive amount of space exposed. However, I still get skied here every now and again, yeah? But I don't die, yeah? All right? It's a bit annoying. It's not massively painful, but it's, you know, it's part and parcel of Kendo. The mune isn't supposed to be this sort of all-encompassing shield for that, all right? So some people it's going to sit lower, especially if they're very tall. There's going to be a bigger gap, and other people it's going to sit somewhat higher. Yes, there's different sizes of door. At KendoStar, for example, we do have a bigger door for taller people that are a little bit higher. We don't do these sort of as standard. Some people come and ask us sometimes, oh, I'm really, really tall. I don't want this massive gap because I keep getting skied there. I don't know why that would happen, but anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. So can I have a really long mune? And then you have this little door die with a massive mune on it. It looks really odd, in my opinion. I tried to get away from doing that. Look, what I mean by what I said about why I don't understand it happens is, look, it's like the kote thing. Sometimes people come to me and say, oh, I've got really long arms, I'm really tall. Can I have longer kote, please? Because people miss my kote. It's like, well, why would people miss your kote because your arm's longer? I don't get that, right? My accuracy shouldn't be affected by the length of your arms. The target size is the same on everybody, You know what I mean? It shouldn't be, oh, this guy's taller, so now all of a sudden I'm much less accurate. Doesn't make sense. And it's the same for tsuki, actually. Just because there's a bigger gap between the ago and the mune, there is a gap here, right? For most people anyway. So whether that gap's 1 centimeter or 3 centimeters, it shouldn't affect the accuracy of my tsuki strike. Yeah? But I don't know. Some people seem to find that it does. So that's my sort of answer on that. I hope it was sort of helpful. Okay, next one. Oh, I've got a frog in my throat today. Hi, I've got some maintenance related questions. What sort of leather refinishing is easy, effective, and won't leave a mark for the leather kendo parts? For example, on the men rim, non-rawhide leather tsuba. Is shoe polish okay, or will it ruin other people's borg with stains? So, I don't really know about non-rawhide leather tsuba, but in terms of the men buchi, the rim of the men, the part that's normally painted black and red on the inside, what I'd say about that is, first off, don't get too attached to the paint that's on it in the first place, right? It's painted with lacquer, yes, but then someone starts beating it with a shinai, so of course it chips and wears away, right? It's normal. It's part and parcel of the wear and tear of kendo borgu. It's a bit like your kendogi. It's going to fade at some point if it's an izomidide kendogi. So is the cotton of the borgu. It's kind of part and parcel of it. I don't tend to do anything about it. I just leave it. Depends how much you're practicing. If you're practicing more than 3 times a week, though, I would say you shouldn't be using the same men the whole time. You should be rotating at least 1 or 2 others in and out with it. But if you don't, then of course it's going to wear away an awful lot faster. What you can do, what some people do, I've heard people use marker pens. Don't use shoe polish because, yeah, it might rub off and, and I don't know what that sort of stuff would do. I've heard people use marker pens. I don't really like the look of it myself, but it's kind of a quick fix if you're really that desperate to touch it up and be black again. What you can do, though, is you can use any sort of oil-based lacquer, or a metal paint, that's a gloss black metal paint that's designed for use outdoors, like on gates or railings or that sort of thing, the sort of thing that's supposed to prevent, rust. If you get a gloss black one of those, don't get a hammered finish one, but a gloss black one of those, that works really well as well. In Europe, we have a brand called Hammerite. There must be a similar thing overseas. But yeah, something like that would do fine. Okay, the second part of your question says, resin dodai. Can we get rid of the strike marks that accumulate over time? I've seen some that are pretty banged up, and I'm not sure if that'll be frowned upon at gradings. First off, no, it won't be frowned upon at gradings. Examiners, they're not looking at how many marks and scratches are on your door, and they're not even looking if your membuchi is chipped or not, to be honest. I don't bother with the strike marks on the door, but if you really do want to, you can buff some of them out with just a dry cloth, actually. Some of the sort of not deep ones or the lighter ones. But if you really want to, you could use like a car polish or car wax. So yeah, I think that's the best thing to go with, like a turtle wax or something like that. Some of the car wax brands, they even have them in different colours and stuff. So something like that, I've heard people use to great success. So, right, next one. Do Suburito require a special form of Suburi to optimize their effectiveness and prevent injury? Or do you attempt to use them as you would use a shinai? Okay, right, well, I've got a Suburito here. A Suburito, by the way, is a kind of bokken or bokdo that's much thicker, all right, and heavier. Okay, this one's mine. I love it. I use it a lot. Basically, when I'm doing Suburi with this, I essentially swing it in exactly the same way that I would a shinai. Right? I don't really do anything differently. Okay, I don't do anything differently. All right, I try and do it in exactly the same way. I don't modify it or anything like that. The idea is that it's going to help strengthen my wrists and my forearms. It works quite well. If you do a lot of Suburi one of these, then I think it will also help with your tenuchi as well. So yeah, I do it the same as I would a shinai. Okay, so just before I get into this, actually, these questions, the last 2 as well, are from the Kendo Show Early Access group. So get in the group if you want to join in the conversation. It's free to join. What are you doing? Go and do it. Anyway, how do you politely disagree with a senpai regarding whether or not they've got yuko datotsu in jigeiko? Especially sometimes a jigeiko ends in ippon shobu, so it's kind of important. All right, so this question was posted sort of in a fuller explanation earlier in the week. You posted it into the group. I was planning to answer it anyway, but you've also posted it here in the thread that I put up today, asking for questions for today's rant. So thank you very much for that. Right, how do you disagree with your senpai regarding, or your seniors, regarding whether or not they've got a yuko datotsu in jigeiko or ippon shobu? This is probably a bit of a point of controversy, perhaps. What you can do if you want to disagree with somebody, especially in jigeiko, normal jigeiko, you don't. There's no point. Yeah, because it's not a collection of points and who scored, and you don't keep score in jigeiko. It's a waste of time to start telling somebody this or that, especially if they're senior to you, in your jigeiko. All right, so don't do anything in jigeiko. Just let them do what they want. If it's ippon shobu, right? If it's ippon shobu, and you really must let them know that the point that they are trying to claim isn't good enough. There are polite ways to do it. You could just the best way is to just keep your kamae and continue the fight, and hopefully they'll re-engage with you. If they say no, that was kote, it's over. You could, if you wanted to, sort of say, no, you hit my fingers or whatever. I'm not sure. It depends on the person, your relationship with them as well, as to how that's going to go down. You could do that. Look, here's what I would do. All right. Frankly, even if it's ippon shobu, it's not only about always winning. All right. If I was doing ippon shobu with a senior or a senpai or a sensei, and they made a strike that I didn't think met my understanding of the criteria of yuko datotsu, or even if I could feel that it missed the strike zone, and they went on to claim that ippon, then I'd simply accept it and also allow them the victory, if that's the right word. I'd allow them that point. I don't need to win every ippon shobu for a start. I don't. Of course, I'm trying to win, but if they're my senpai and they're the senior and they say that's their point, then just as the sensei that are doing shimpan, I would bow to that authority. Which I understand is probably not ideal, probably not the answer you want, but look, there must have been something there, right? There's two reasons for this. There must have been some sort of weakness there that made my senpai or my senior feel that was indeed a valid strike. All right, so there was something I did that gave them that impression. All right, so the opening was there. Maybe it wasn't perfectly accurate, but in their opinion, it was still the right timing, the right opportunity, and all the other elements are there. And for them, that's what they count as yuko datotsu. The other thing as well, of course, is if I was doing ippon shobu with someone who's senior to me, and they made the strike, and I didn't think that met my understanding of the criteria for yuko datotsu, maybe I'm wrong in how I understand how yuko datotsu should be judged, right? And that's why I would bow to the experience of my senior. And afterwards, I'd reflect on it and think, well, perhaps I was misunderstanding. Maybe I was wrong about how I understand what yuko datotsu is. Or maybe not. Maybe they were wrong about it in that case. I don't know. But it gave me a chance to reflect. So it's still a chance for me to learn. All right. So I think that's the way I take it. And I know it's probably not the answer you want. But in my opinion, I think what I would do is, if I had that situation where the senpai or sensei did the attack on me, even if I didn't think it was really good ippon, and they said that's ippon, I would say, hi, that's okay, thank you very much. And I'd accept that as ippon. Secondly, The other thing I would like to add to this, though, is that if you are the person who is senior in this situation, it's also for you to remember it's not about winning every Ippon Shobu. You're not supposed to sort of just beat down on your Kohai. Now, look, when you're a similar level, right? When you're a similar level, then that's one thing, right? That's one thing. Yes, it's good to have the kind of competitive Ippon Shobu. But if there's quite a gap between you and the people you're doing the Ippon Shobu with, you're not supposed to just beat them all the time, right? When I'm doing Ippon Shobu with juniors, when I say juniors, I mean people junior level to me, I'm not trying to just win every single match, every single Ippon Shobu. My role as the motodachi in this situation is to pull them up and to give them the chance to improve. All right. Sometimes that takes the form of me presenting, even not in an obvious way, an opportunity for them to strike. Sometimes I'll hit points on them and they'll say, they'll accept them and I'll say, no, let's do more. And I will force them to keep going until I can get them to make the strike that's good enough. In fact, I do that quite often, especially with sort of quite experienced or competitive players. But I have to, I'll often, present them with the chance to win the Ippon Shobu. Yeah, you have to do that as the senior. That's your job as well. All right. So that's worth bearing in mind too. Sometimes though, it depends on the person, of course. There are people, sometimes you need to beat them and you need to let them know that they were beat there so that they can understand that weakness in their kendo. So there's that as well. You have to make that judgment as the senior. That's why you're senior. Yeah. So that's worth bearing in mind too. Okay. That's my sort of answer on that. I hope it was somewhat coherent. Okay, next one. What are the pros and cons of each Nafuda/Zekken stitching? Are they just different aesthetic reasons? So I kind of clarified this on the page. What the poster meant by this was there's different types, different ways they make the Zekken or the Nafuda or the Tare name if you want to be a real rebel. Most common one at the moment is the Clarino type, which is Clarino is a type of synthetic leather where they get a cloth bag and they cut out the letters in white synthetic leather and they stitch them to the bag. All right, and that makes the name badge. The other ways are the heat press, where they do a similar thing. They cut out this kind of felt type material and then it's heat pressed onto it. Like you can get like t-shirts that are like that as well. And then the other way is embroidery, where the whole letters are embroidered onto it. There's no real pros or cons necessarily between these different types. The Clarino type is probably the most popular at the moment. It's quite... I'd say that the Clarino and the embroidery are my favourite ones. They're certainly more durable than the heat press one. I don't even sell them on KendoStar because I think they start to peel off too easily. I think they look cheap. They're quick, cheap, and easy. But the kind of quality of them reflects that. The Clarino ones, I'm kind of preferring the embroidery ones myself recently. The Clarino ones they look fine, they're good quality, but the difficulty with them is they're generally hand cut, and a lot of the Japanese suppliers, they don't really enjoy making ones for non-Japanese names, especially long katakana names, where they have to cut out lots of intricate letters. So often they can take a long time to make, they can be expensive, and sometimes they get them a bit wrong as well. So they're a bit of a headache from a supplier's point of view, if that makes sense. That's one thing with them. I personally like the embroidered ones. You'll start to see more of those through KendoStar as well, because we're kind of upgrading our embroidery systems at the minute. We've got some really cool embroidery products coming, so keep your eyes out for that. But the good thing about the embroidered ones is that it's all done off data, and there's a lot more versatility. You've got a better choice of fonts and stuff, for example. It looks just as good. It's just as durable. So yeah, I personally like that method. But there's no like this one's better and that one's not, you know, apart from the heat press ones. I think the heat press ones are a bit rubbish, but that's my own opinion, of course. Okay. Next one, how do you practice the left-hand strike? Thank you. You do loads and loads and loads of Suburi, all right? And you think about swinging the shinai with your left hand, and you go and watch the video, how to practice Suburi at home, and you copy everything that I've done in that. And if you do that, you'll get better at swinging the shinai with your left hand. Next one, there are two schools of thought regarding use of the Suburito on its benefits. The more common belief is that the increase in weight serves as a form of resistance training, thus increasing the speed of strikes when using a regular shinai. The lesser common belief is it impedes swing speed, and using a much lighter shinai is a better method of Suburi training. What is your thoughts? All right, so I come from the third school of thought. I think, as I said, the Suburito, that's this thing that we talked about a bit earlier, is a fantastic training tool, and I use it a lot. Right? It's very, very good. It does act as resistance training. It does help you build up physical strength, and especially the muscles that you need to swing the shinai. And they do help you develop. It's not so much swing speed, because swing speed's not super important in Kendo, actually. It is important, but it's not massively important. I mean, that's why there's like 90-year-old dudes that can like still beat people down, because you know they don't swing the shinai so fast, but they've mastered semi. But it certainly helps with tenuchi. It helps with sae. It helps with shinai sabaki, movement of the shinai. So yes, I think the Suburito is a great tool for that. However, I also think that using a light shinai or a light there's a bokuto that I have actually made of kiri. It's like balsa wood. It's not balsa wood. It's Polonia, which is very, very light, and that as well is very, very good for Suburi training. But it has a very different concept. Of course, it's not there for building physical strength. Instead, it's there to train your body to. You have to swing it with a relaxed swing, otherwise it's very difficult to control. Also, it's very good for training the concept of swinging and striking in the timing of ichibyoshi, like a one-step timing. So not 1, 2, 1, 2, but 1, 1, 1, or 1, 1, 1, not 1, 2, 1, 2, like this, okay? It's very good for that as well. I don't know of a very strong Kendo institution, whether it be a school, university, or police department in Japan that does not use heavy Suburito in their Suburi regime. I do not know of one at the moment. Perhaps, I'm sure there are some though, yeah? But it is very popular and it is used to a lot of effect. Also, I know a lot of places that are very, very strong that as well as using a very heavy Suburito, they use a very light shinai or very light bokuto as well for Suburi, as I just mentioned, okay? The lightweight bokuto are actually something as well we are looking to offer on KendoStar, so if it's something you're interested in, keep your eyes peeled on our website and we'll get them there as soon as we can. Okay, hope that answers your question. Next one, I have a short question. What size shinai would be appropriate for a child 7 to 8 years old and about 128 centimeters high? I find the sizing charts a little vague. I'd probably go with a size 3.2 or 32. It's probably a little bit long for a kid of that size, but they'll soon grow into using it. If you're in Japan, I'd probably say straight up a 30, because you'd easily be able to just pick up the next size up as you go along. But I'd probably start with a 3.2 or 32 and go from there. Right, last one. What are your thoughts and comments on some dojos having a dummy to practice on when there's no kakarite or motodachi? So you mean an uchikomi dai, all right? It's like a hitting dummy. It looks like a person, but you put the boga on it and you hit that. I think it's a great training tool. If you've got one, if you've got space for one at your club, it's definitely a brilliant thing to have because yeah, you can practice your striking on it without the fear of missing your strikes. Of course, it gives you the chance to concentrate on it's kind of like doing Suburi, but you actually get the resistance of actually striking something. So yeah, I think it's a great tool, and if you have the chance to have one in your dojo, it's definitely worth it. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Don't really care which. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. Shop at KendoStar. Bye bye.